So, kind of starting out, I wanted to ask Matt and Eldon, why was it so important for Eldon schools, kind of facing some educational outcomes and other issues, to also focus on area of the community needs like housing and economic development and, businesses and jobs? And I know when I first met you, that's what we were talking about, and that's where a lot of our work together came from, was this idea that Eldon wanted to make sure that kids had lived in healthy, successful communities, but also I know you just seriously care about the success of the community of Eldon.
Right. So we believe just if everything's going well in the community, our kids will be doing better. So when Robert and I met, our free and reduced lunch was around 65%. And so today it's down to 50%. So we feel like we've made a lot of progress in that area for our kids and just bringing in better jobs on that side. And so we knew that we needed to train the future workforce at our school. And so our career center has been vital for that, of just getting the kids the skills that they need to be successful. But one thing we started doing was we would do a survey with our seniors who are getting ready to graduate. We'd survey them in the fall, and we'd ask them, we'd say, hey, what are you planning to do after high school? And how can we help you achieve those goals? And so if our kids said, hey, we are planning to go to college, we would make sure that they filled out the FAFSA. We'd make sure that they filled out their application to college. And if a student said, hey, we are looking to go to work right after school, then we kind of asked them their skill set, what kind of jobs they were looking for. And then we really focused on partnering them up with an employer to make sure that our students found the just not what I would consider the low level fast food. Not that anything's wrong with fast food restaurants, but just we tried to get them better jobs, maybe working at our local factories in town. And the thing that was nice was that it was a win-win because the businesses were looking for quality employees, and we could find them the students that had the right skill set so that they would be successful. And so they were jobs with 40-hour work weeks, with insurance, with retirements, some paid time off, and those are things that helped our students be successful. When we did our senior survey, something that really kind of surprised us was the amount of students that did not have a driver's license. And that was another area of focus that we decided to work on because, if we would survey 140 students and 25 to 30 of them didn't have a driver's license, not being able to get around in a community makes it difficult to find a quality job. And so we have been able to help these students get their permit. We would have students use school vehicles to practice driving with some of our staff. Our director of special services, we take students to our country club and use the golf carts and go around the country club of getting them some experience of just what it's like driving a golf cart, then move them up to a school vehicle. If there's people on here that work at a school that might not be legal, so I'm not saying you should do that at your school, but we just kind of roll with it and do that here in our community. Then we also have groups within that we've helped kids pay for their car insurance. We've had people in the community that will donate a vehicle to us. They're nothing fancy, but an older car, high mileage, and somebody gives it to us. Sometimes a car with insurance will pay for 6 months of that, can really get a kid onto successful. And so for us, it then helps, I think, on the housing side of, they're having higher income. They can pay the rent that kind of goes with it. And so that is just one aspect that we have on our side.
So can you tell me a little bit about housing? I know this is an area that Eldon, because of the community's success, has struggled with a little bit.
Yeah. So what's crazy is when you do recruit a big business in, it's good and it's bad. So the good is you bring in all these quality jobs. The bad is the housing market supply just goes away. And so that makes it extremely hard for people to find quality housing. And so we have torn down in our community over 75 dilapidated houses so that we can then build back. And then our school district has a building trades program to where we build a house every single year, training those students not only how to build a house and give them those skills, but then the businesses want to hire our students. Like they will go out to where we're building a house and they'll say, hey, I need some people to help me with framing, with HVAC, with plumbing. And they give our kids the jobs. Like they're like, you can start tomorrow. And so those things are really exciting. One of our goals is to kind of build what we would call smaller 800 square foot homes, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and try to make it affordable. Our school district would like to purchase a dilapidated trailer park, and so we're still trying to work through that process with the city. But there's definitely some pushback, is the school's role to be a developer. But we think it helps both. It could help my teachers find housing on that side of it. It gives my students the skill sets that they need. It just continues to work on providing a niche market that maybe some of the builders and developers in town are not focusing on that type of house, just because there's not as much maybe profit margin on those type of houses as there are if you build bigger houses or build more apartment type facilities.
And Matt, this kind of relates to a question that Jennifer asked as well as, college and work, but you brought up trade schools and the military. So
Mhm.
one of the questions I would have is, or something that you've told me about that I'd like you to talk about a little bit is even Quaker Windows. You talked about the different job experience opportunities that your students have and what the range of those are. So
Yep.
can you talk a little bit about how you think about both the needs of the community and how students may fill those needs that include things beyond going to college or other types of work?
So we take students, so we load up a bus and we go take a tour of the factory. And so factories today are not like what you used to think of several years ago. And so they are clean, they are nice, they have great benefits. But the thing, even for us, like when we take a tour to Quaker, we want to take the kids that are getting degrees that might be going to college also in accounting, in health sciences, in business, in architecture, engineering, because all the jobs. So when this factory employs 500 people, they have everybody that's working there. And so we take kids who are going to be the line workers, building the windows, working there, but also the ones who are doing accounts payable, accounting side of it, the legal side of it. And so that has been fantastic because we really try to show the broad range. And so my goal is that we have our kids, when they graduate, that they can come back home and live in Eldon, and that there's a job for anyone who wants to work here. And so that has just kind of been a push for us and then when we work with Quaker, we say, hey, what are the skill sets they need? Is there a program we need to offer within our high school so that our kids are better skilled when they start working with you at Quaker Windows? So on day one, they're able to get going. And several schools have a similar, like we call it on the job training, to where second semester of your senior year, you can go and start working at one of those industries so that your skill set's ready to go. So instead of coming to, let's say, building trades and working on the house for 3 hours a day, you go and work at Quaker Windows for 3 hour a day. And so that just allows the kids to make some money, allows them to already get their foot in the door and build those relationships. So again, it's a lot of work, a lot of people making those connections with the businesses and holding students accountable. But we just think it's very successful for our community.